Hi, I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here with Dino Dai Zovi, who's the founder, co-founder, and CTO of Capsule8 here in New York City.
Hey, thank you.
How you doing, man?
Great. How about you?
How is everything going?
It's good. It's good. It's busy, but in a good way.
Busy time to be doing cybersecurity, right?
I know. Cybersecurity keeps getting busier and more important. So it's a good drive to make sure we're doing the right thing.
How many years have you been at this?
I've been working in cybersecurity for about pushing 20 years.
That's not something.
Like through college, full-time, about 15 plus years.
What attracted you to it? Was it hacking? Was it the technology? Was it an inspiring mentor? What kind of?
Kind of a mix. You know, I always liked technology. I was attached to a computer since I could barely speak.
Yeah.
But what really captured my attention with security was like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And the sort of the challenge nature. It's like it's adversarial. So it's not just getting something to work. It's basically figuring out how something works better than someone else. Mm-hmm. And so both attack and defense are all based on being better at computers than the other side. And so figuring out like all attacks, I see them as just solving a puzzle. Mm. You know, they're this non-intuitive way of how something operates, and you figure out a way to kind of get in. Or you can apply the same to defense. Like there are insights that you can apply that are based on kind of a deeper understanding of the technology that can provide really effective defense. And that's just what keeps me going every single day, is these puzzles and these intellectual challenges.
Let's talk about the company, Capsule8.
So Capsule8 is my latest venture. Co-founded it with John Vega, Brandon Edwards, Pete Markowski.
Smart guys.
All
pretty
very
good
smart.
Group.
Yeah.
The company, I think of it in terms of securing Linux, securing containers.
Yep.
When you meet with somebody, what's the elevator speech around the company?
So the elevator pitch is real-time attack disruption for cloud-native environments. Mm. So there's a lot of jargon packed in there, so I can kind of go through and unpack it.
Yeah, especially when I hear the word disruption, because I bet that was selected very carefully.
Yes, that was not an accident.
Yes.
So we call it disruption because it is actively fighting back in the attack. Some people call this active defense, but we think the word active defense has sort of had its meaning clouded by some people meaning it to be an active attack against your attackers, versus what we consider it to be is just not being passive when an attack happens. So our system responds to attacks, contains attacks, and it is all done in real time. So instead of just detecting an attack and raising the alert for a human analyst, we try to make the human's role be refinement rather than speed critical response. So our system is focused on fighting back in real time, and with a strong emphasis on cloud-native environments. So that's.
Can I keep you on the fighting back for a minute?
Of course.
So most people watching would think of fighting back as an old IP shun or something, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Or maybe using a little deception.
Yep.
Or throwing a new rule up.
Yep.
You know, give me like in simple terms, like what's the heuristic? What sort of things are you doing? What's the strategy?
Yeah, so the strategies are oriented around the new growth of stateless architectures. So one of the side effects of movement to the cloud, where workloads or where systems are designed to scale up and scale down with the workload, is a lot of the tiers are
scaling up via virtualization and spinning new capabilities,
creating new containers on demand, new cloud instances on demand. And it'll adapt to the amount of traffic rather than being a static fixed amount. Right. So in order to do that, a lot of your application architecture has to be stateless. And so not completely stateless, you still have stuff in RAM, you still have a data store, but what it means is that your data store is stateful, but every other component you try and make stateless. And those stateless components are the application logic, the web servers, application servers, and those are typically where vulnerabilities are found and exploited. So what we take advantage of is the fact that those can be restarted very cleanly without those stateless components, with a low impact to the workload. And so this gives us an opportunity to just use that, so that if we see a kind of a compromised container, we know that there's a known good to restore it from, and we can restore that. And we can give the human analyst the kind of forensic trail on what happened, so they can refine the system saying, keep doing this or don't keep doing this.
Is a distributed app on a bunch of containers inherently more secure than the way we used to do it, like an app on an OS and so on? Are containers a good thing from a security perspective in your mind?
I think
that's the new platform.
Yeah, it's the new platform. It's the new virtualization.
Yeah.
I really think they are.
They're better.
Yeah. So it's hard to compare apples and oranges for the isolation between virtualization and containerization, because what containerization really is in its current form is application level virtualization. So we, instead of kind of having multiple tenants of the same operating system, we just abstract away the OS from the bits of the application and its libraries that it requires. And so for our data analysis, like, it's easier for us to know when something is awry in that application than a large VM with a lot of things going on.
So has it been in business year or so?
Yeah, we're almost at a year.
Interesting. Yeah. And are you seeing service, product, toolkit? What do you think you'll be selling? Because everybody's running Linux in data centers. There's a lot of potential,
and even more in the
customer,
cloud.
Opportunities there. But what do you see? You building a product?
It's a product. It's always we've always known that it's going to be a product. It's not going to be a service, and it's going to run in our customer's environment. And that environment can be their cloud, can be their on-premises data center behind the firewall, but it's designed for operation disconnected from us, because this is the security of people's production environments. So their most important data is there, so they're extra sensitive, and this is what we've heard from people we've talked to. There's extra sensitivities there about what access they're giving, and so they don't want to send all that data to a third party. And so we designed for that, and it's designed for large-scale deployments down to small-scale deployments.
I've heard you guys mention stats about Linux penetration, say in the data center and in the cloud. It's real high numbers, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember whether 80 something.
It was actually really surprising to us that we found out that over 90% of instances in Amazon are running Linux.
90%. Right.
Yeah, and as of a couple years ago, over like a third in even Microsoft Azure are running Linux. And so across the board, what we're seeing is roughly 80% of cloud instances across all the major cloud providers are running Linux. And it's interesting that it's a piece of the stack that people they say, oh, we don't really need something for Linux security, but it's evident that it is a key component in all of their infrastructure, and all their infrastructure is built on top of it.
What do people do to protect Linux now, other than maybe running a scan or something? Or is that it?
It's just not a lot. I mean, a lot of, actually we've seen the most of is a lot of people building their own solutions. So if you look across, especially high-tech companies, Silicon Valley, like a lot of them build their own intrusion detection response tools and capabilities
using Snort or something like that, or
it's a mix of open source components and kind of internal infrastructure. Our system is designed for very flexible deployment because we think of it as a toolkit more than a one-size-fits-all solution.
One of our favorite questions to ask people kind of as we close interviews is about kind of what's coming and maybe from a threat perspective. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think, like, what are the chances of like the power going out in a major city as a result of a cyber attack? High, medium, or low? What do you think? Like in the next 5 years?
5 years, medium.
That's what I would say too.
My personal gut.
I'd put it there. Good middle of the road answer. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
but
middle of the road.
It's true. I mean, there's dysfunctionality that plays to our advantage, right? Cascading attacks require that things actually work together. Sometimes it's good that elections are like that, right?
Yep, elections are also very fragile things.
Yeah, it's good that we don't have the ability to cascade and interoperate.
Yeah.
I hope that as that eventually wanes, because eventually everything connects to everything else, one of the great axioms of what we do, it probably gets worse, I would think.
Yeah, well, I think there's always a wave. Like these connections obviously give us great benefit, like in efficiency and communication, but it's not without their risks. We're like as security professionals, we're always trying to stay ahead of the risks. Like we're looking for the risks, we're trying to spot them, and I think a lot of our successes are where they're not attacks and may not be viewed as things where we've done enough.
Hey, you guys going to keep the company in Brooklyn?
As long as we can. I'll keep voting. I'll keep pushing for us to keep it there as long as we can.
You guys are one of the coolest companies in Brooklyn. I hope you stay there.
I hope so too.
Love having you here.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope you come back as you guys start developing some really cool stuff. I know you're doing that already, but maybe come back and we can talk a little bit more about the functionality and just
of course
keep it going.
We'd love to tell you more when we can.
You're awesome for coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
See you again.
Good to see you.
And we'll see you next time.